The tale of David and Goliath is among the most iconic stories from the Bible, imparting timeless lessons of courage, faith, and overcoming the seemingly impossible. While many are familiar with the basics of this story, there are fascinating details often overlooked. Today, we will explore an intriguing aspect of Goliath's story that is not widely known. Some scholars believe that Goliath, the Gittite from Gath, was part of a race known as the Nephilim. However, other experts suggest he was a Rephaim, as the Nephilim were said to have perished in the Great Flood during Noah's time, with only Noah's family surviving. The Rephaim are mentioned nearly 20 times in the Bible. For example, only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. While most people know Goliath as the fearsome warrior defeated by David, few are aware of the deeper narrative concerning Goliath and his brothers. Was Goliath a Nephilim? What was his true nature? What became of his giant brothers after his death? Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content we do here. Let the journey begin. Goliath was a giant like no other. Standing over 9 feet tall and clothed in armor that gleamed like the sun, he struck fear into the hearts of all who beheld him. He was a champion from the Philistine camp, who fought as an armored warrior. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 4. His size alone was not his only imposing feature. He wore a massive bronze helmet and a coat of scale armor made of overlapping metal plates, weighing over 125 pounds. Bronze shields protected his legs, and a bronze javelin was slung between his shoulders. The shaft of his spear was as thick as a weaver's beam, and its head alone weighed about 15 pounds. A shield-bearer marched ahead of him, carrying a shield as large as a person. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verses 5 to 7. The Philistines' armor included a large piece of cloth, similar to a tarp, adorned with bronze rings from shoulder to knee. This provided crucial protection against the enemy's sharp and deadly weapons. Goliath not only wore this formidable armor, but also had a man running ahead of him, carrying a massive shield for additional defense. Imagine the terror of facing such a giant, heavily armored and seemingly invincible. It's easy to see why anyone would feel at a great disadvantage against him. Now, let's delve into the epic battle between Goliath and David. Goliath positioned himself and taunted the ranks of the armies of Israel, mocking them with, "Why have you come to line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine, and are you not servants of Saul? Choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to me. If he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will become your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you shall become our servants and serve us." 1 Samuel chapter 17 verses 8 and 9. Goliath proposed a strategy from ancient Eastern civilizations, the famous one-on-one combat. He represented the Philistine forces, and whoever Israel chose would represent the Israeli armies. The outcome was simple. The side whose champion won would be declared the victor, while the army of the other would face total defeat. No need to bring all your soldiers to this battle. Just choose one warrior. "I am unmatched," Goliath said boastfully from the top of the mountain. Goliath not only issued this challenge, but also kept mocking their God. He persisted with his challenge for 40 days. The Philistine Goliath would come out morning and evening and position himself for 40 days. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 16. He marched out every morning and evening for more than a month, displaying his size and strength and challenging anyone to face him. But little did he know, on the horizon, a shepherd boy named David was about to change the course of history. Picture the scene in the rugged hills of Bethlehem. Young David tended his father's flock, oblivious to the great conflict brewing in the valley below. Yet destiny had other plans, as David's journey was about to take a legendary turn. Summoned by his father to deliver provisions to his brothers on the battlefield, David embarked on a journey that would lead him face to face with the fearsome giant, Goliath. He was too young to join the army. In fact, David was likely unaware of the brewing conflict between the Israelites and the Philistines. He might not have even heard of Goliath. His only concern was that 3 of his older brothers were serving in Saul's army. Meanwhile, David's father, Jesse, was increasingly worried about his eldest sons. Growing older and unable to make the arduous journey through the mountains himself, he called upon his youngest son and said, "David, I have an important task for you." Jesse instructed David, "Take this roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread to your brothers. Hurry to their camp, and also bring these 10 cuts of cheese to the unit commander. Check on your brothers' welfare and bring back news of them." 1 Samuel 17 verses 17 and 18. So early the next morning, David entrusted his flock to a keeper, took the provisions, and set out as Jesse had instructed. He arrived at the camp just as the army was moving out in battle formation, shouting the war cry. 1 Samuel 17 verse 20. As he neared the Israeli camp, he saw the troops gearing up for battle and heard the resounding war cry. David simply wanted to observe and understand what was happening. David ran to the front lines to greet his brothers, leaving his supplies with the baggage keeper. While speaking with them, the champion, the Philistine from Gath named Goliath, appeared and spoke his usual taunts, and David heard him. 1 Samuel 17 verses 22 and 23. Picture this. As David stood with his brothers, a thunderous shout echoed across the valley. Instantly, everyone around him bolted in fear, hiding in their tents. When the men of Israel saw Goliath, they fled, greatly afraid. 1 Samuel 17 verse 24. Keep in mind that this was David's first encounter with the giant from Gath. As he scanned the battlefield, he saw a colossal figure clad in armor, hurling threats and cursing the God of Israel. David was incensed. This was the 41st day the Israelites had faced Goliath's challenge, but it was David's first exposure. He turned to the men near him and asked, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" The men recounted the rewards promised to the one who could defeat Goliath. 1 Samuel 17 verses 26 and 27. David then had a meeting with King Saul. David said to Saul, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. Your servant will go and fight with this Philistine." But Saul replied, "You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for you are only a youth, and he has been a warrior from his youth." David responded, "Your servant kept his father's sheep, and when a lion or a bear came and took a lamb from the flock, I went after it, struck it down, and rescued the lamb from its mouth. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, for he has defied the armies of the living God." David continued, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." Saul then said to David, "Go, and may the Lord be with you." 1 Samuel 17 verses 32 to 37. Saul dressed David in his own garments, placed a bronze helmet on his head, and outfitted him with a coat of mail. David strapped on the sword over his armor and tried to walk, but he was not accustomed to them. He said to Saul, "I cannot go in these, for I am not used to them." So David took them off, picked up his shepherd's staff, and chose 5 smooth stones from the stream. He put them in his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in hand, he approached the Philistine. 1 Samuel 17 verses 38 to 40. Here stands David, dressed in his simplest shepherd attire, armed with nothing but a sling and a staff, preparing for battle. Now we have reached a pivotal moment. The Philistine came forward, shield bearer ahead of him. When he saw David, he ridiculed and despised him for being just a youth, ruddy and handsome. The Philistine mocked, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" He cursed David by his gods and threatened, "Come to me and I will give your flesh to the birds of the sky and the beasts of the field." But David answered, "You come to me with a sword, spear, and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. I will give the corpses of the Philistine army to the birds of the sky and the wild animals of the earth, so that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel." Imagine the tension in the air. David, steadfast and resolute, facing a giant clad in armor weighing as much as 200 pounds, armed with only a simple sling and a stone. As the Philistine advanced, David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet him. He reached into his pouch, took out a stone and slung it, striking the Philistine in the forehead. Off with his head. When the Philistines saw their mighty champion was dead, they fled. They did not return, realizing their champion was gone. They dispersed, and the men of Israel and Judah rose with a shout, pursuing the Philistines to the entrance of the valley and the gates of Ekron. The fatally wounded Philistines fell along the way to Shaaraim, even unto Gath and Ekron. The sons of Israel returned from chasing the Philistines and plundered their camp. David brought the head of the Philistine to Jerusalem. This is the story everyone knows about Goliath, but let's delve deeper. Many experts believe the Philistines came from a group known as the Anakim. Goliath's status as an elite warrior is reinforced by the fact that Gath, his hometown, was a major Anakim center. Some researchers suggest that Goliath's immense stature could be attributed to a genetic pattern known as autosomal dominant inheritance, leading to conditions such as familial acromegaly or gigantism. In the biblical narratives, Goliath was a massive man, a giant among men. After his fall at the hands of David, guided by God, we learn of Goliath's 4 brothers. There was another war with the Philistines at Gob, where Elhanan, the son of Jareh-Oregim, the Bethlehemite, killed Goliath the Gittite, whose spear shaft was like a weaver's beam. These imposing figures, Lahmi, Saph, Ishbi-Benob, and an unnamed giant, notable for his 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, had a message not just for their adversaries, the Israelites, but for themselves as well. Each wielded weapons of incredible scale and power. Although their names might not be as familiar as their infamous brother Goliath, their existence tells a compelling story about facing obstacles, fighting for redemption, and the complex reality of living under the shadow of extraordinary achievements. In the days following Goliath's defeat by the young David, armed only with a stone and sling, the Philistines once again clashed with the Israelites. Among the Philistine warriors was Ishbi-Benob, a formidable figure with blood ties to Goliath. As the Philistines waged war against Israel, David, accompanied by his servants, grew weary in battle. Ishbi-Benob, one of the descendants of the giant, armed with a spear weighing 300 shekels of bronze and wielding a new sword, sought to kill David. However, he underestimated the power of God, and because of this, he perished that very day. Those who oppose the followers of God may seem strong, smart, and certain of success. Yet no matter their strength, cleverness, or confidence, they cannot overcome the power of God. At the crucial moment, Abishai intervened to save David in an incredible way. Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, came to David's aid, striking and killing the Philistine. David's men then swore to him, "You must not go out again with us to battle, so you do not extinguish the lamp of Israel." Abishai, the eldest son of Zeruiah and brother to Joab and Asahel, demonstrated remarkable loyalty and courage. He alone accompanied David on a daring mission into Saul's camp, where they seized the king's spear and water jug from his sleeping area. When David faced the rebellion led by his son Absalom, it was Abishai who commanded one of the 3 main divisions of David's forces. Abishai also held a prominent position as the leader of the 2nd rank among the 3 celebrated warriors known as the Mighty. Abishai, the brother of Joab and son of Zeruiah, was chief among the 30. He wielded his spear against 300 men, killing them and gaining a reputation alongside the 3. In this story, we must recognize Abishai's courage and his unwavering loyalty to his leader. Even more praise should go to the marvelous timing and support of God, intervening precisely when David needed help most. No matter how difficult things get, those with a noble cause and a determined defender will not be left alone. Abishai stood firm, not faltering even when the situation seemed dire. He bravely held his position, and at that crucial moment God sent assistance. Even the bravest heroes can have moments of weakness, but those who stand firm and do not give in to fear will find relief. They will emerge stronger and victorious. After this experience, David's followers decided that he should no longer risk himself in such a way. They easily convinced him to avoid direct combat with Absalom, though he continued to face the Philistines until a decision was made. They then agreed and swore an oath to ensure he never went back into battle with the Philistines. It is crucial to protect the lives of those who are as vital to their people as David was, with extra caution and care. Abishai became a hero that day, and David lived to fight another battle. Ishbi-Benob serves as a brief but powerful reminder of the ongoing struggle between the Israelites and the Philistines, and the risks that even great leaders like David faced on the battlefield. It is also a story of loyalty and friendship, embodied by Abishai's quick action to save his king. The Bible mentions Saph as one of the giant descendants of the Rephaim in the Philistine city of Gath. As swords clashed and spears flew, Saph found himself in combat with Sibbecai the Hushathite, one of David's elite warriors. Sibbecai was a mighty warrior from the time of David, hailing from the town of Husha, and was among David's 30 valiant men, known for their great individual feats in battles. Also among the valiant warriors were Sibbecai the Hushathite and Eli the Ahohite. Lahmi, another brother of Goliath, wielded a massive spear with a shaft as thick as a weaver's beam, according to 1 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 5. War had erupted once again with the Philistines. In this fierce battle, Elhanan, the son of Jair, killed Lahmi, the brother of Goliath the Gittite. Lahmi's spear shaft was like a weaver's beam. But what exactly is a weaver's beam? Picture this. During biblical times, a weaver's beam was a robust, cylindrical piece of wood positioned at the top of a loom. Its purpose was to hold the vertical threads, known as the warp, keeping them taut and organized. This allowed the weaver to shuttle the horizontal threads, or the weft, back and forth. When the Bible speaks of a weaver's beam, it emphasizes its length and its remarkable thickness and sturdiness, highlighting the stark contrast to the common, thinner spears of ordinary soldiers. The story of Israel's triumph over the Philistines showcases that Israel could vanquish formidable foes, even in the absence of David. These brave warriors achieved incredible feats after David had retired from battling giants. As one generation's leaders fade away, God raises new leaders to guide the next. David's legendary victory over Goliath likely inspired countless tales of his heroics on the Philistine fields. He was a relentless thorn in their side. Lahmi, aiming to overshadow David, met the same fate as his brother. But remember, Lahmi wasn't contending with just anyone. He faced a warrior backed by God's support. While Lahmi's story is brief, it reassures the Israelites that their true strength came not from numbers or weapons, but from their unwavering faith in God. In the Bible, giants often symbolize the enemies of God's people, destined for defeat. Their existence was a test of faith for those who trusted in God. Goliath's brothers represent the recurring challenges we face in life. Just as David and his men confronted multiple giants, we too must be prepared for ongoing obstacles. The lesson here is one of resilience and constant vigilance. The defeat of Goliath's brothers underscores the power of faith and courage, echoing David's triumph over Goliath. Inspired by David's past victories, his men drew from the same well of faith and boldness to overcome what seemed like insurmountable challenges. David's legacy wasn't just about his victories, it was also about what he left behind, a people ready to win. His successes were crucial not only for him, but for those who, through his teaching and example, learned to achieve victories themselves, paving the way for Solomon's future success. Our experiences today are not only beneficial for us now, but also offer something valuable for future generations. Genesis chapter 6 verses 1 to 4 captivates many Bible readers with the mysterious identities of both the sons of God and the Nephilim. The narrative of Goliath and his brothers confronting the children of God imparts several spiritual lessons. It highlights the eternal battle between good and evil, demonstrating that faith in God can overcome fear and seemingly insurmountable obstacles. The story underscores divine empowerment, God's sovereignty and protection, and the importance of courage and obedience. It also emphasizes the need for spiritual preparation through everyday experiences and maintaining a spiritual perspective. Believers are encouraged to trust in God's power and view challenges through a lens of faith, recognizing that God often chooses the weak to showcase his strength. That will be all for today on Faithful Journeys. Please do not forget to like this video and share it with someone who needs a reminder of the power of faith and courage. Like and subscribe to this channel for more content just like this, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on how faith has helped you overcome your own giants. See you again soon. God bless.